He is the one who chooses us. So even Yeshua says in John 6:44, no one can come to me unless the Father who sent me draws him, and I will raise him up in the last day. No one unless. People read that, but they do not see, they cannot hear what it means. So the proof that this has taken place, that being born again takes place, is because we have the mind of Christ, as Paul says in 1 Corinthians 2:16. For who has known the mind of the Lord that he may instruct him? But we have the mind of Christ. And in order for you to have the mind of Christ, we have to be able to understand. That's what a disciple is. A disciple will say, will do everything that he sees his masters do. But in order for us to be disciples, we have to be able to understand the language that the master is speaking in. And as I mentioned before, it has nothing to do with Hebrew or Greek or any other language. Yeshua says clearly, the words that I speak to you are spirit. It's a spiritual language. And we have a witness to that in Acts chapter 2, when the Spirit of God came onto the apostles and there were tongues of fire on their heads. Every one of them spoke in a different language that people could understand. So hopefully that will make sense to you.
Yeah, it wasn't just Hebrew or Greek that they were talking.
Right.
They were talking in a language that they could understand. And I think one of the things that Father has opened up my mind to is, what do you base your foundation? I know we were talking about this previously. What do you base your foundation of your faith on? Is the Greek language? Is the Hebrew language? Because if that fails, faith crumbles. And that's why a lot of people are led astray, because sometimes one word can mean 10 different things. Right? So who now chooses what it was meant to be?
Yes.
So, like, for example, if it's based upon Christ, you have to disprove Christ to break your faith. Not a calendar, not a feast day,
not a pronunciation of the name.
Not a pronunciation of the name, because your faith is built upon a rock that will stand the test of everything, which is Christ. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of the times people are drawn away by wolves. Because I remember times when I used to be part of debating and stuff. I was a Paul back in the day, a Pharisee. I used to debate a lot of like Muslims and stuff, but they used to bring context as a way to disprove the faith. They used to bring specific words to disprove, and then they drew me into a discussion, but the rules were not based upon biblical rules.
Right.
So I'm debating context, I'm not debating what Father has been saying. So if I went upon it has to be in context and someone proves me wrong, now I'm questioning the whole Bible and my faith. Christ has to be the rock.
And the only rock. And he will reveal himself to you when is your time. Paul spoke about to Timothy, and he said, remember everything that I had taught you, But then he says something that is very, very important for us to see. He says and may God give you the understanding. Paul never claimed himself to give understanding to anybody. He planted a seed, he watered the seed, but the plant can only grow if God causes it to grow. Not Paul, not the apostle, not any man, only God. And Jesus Christ is God in the flesh. He will cause it to do it. So here's how Messiah describes the process of being born again. And remember when he said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, that's a temple language. The way, in the outer court, you have the brazen altar, where the sacrifices are burned and all the stuff, and you have the laver, where people will watch, where the priest will watch. So when he says, verily, verily, I say to you, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone, but if it die, you bring much forth much fruit. We are commanded to bring forth much fruit. But the only way that we can bring fruit is if the branches that we are attached to Yeshua. We cannot bring fruit of our own. And that's how that fruit, which is the fruit of the Spirit of God, begins with one word, which summarizes the whole Torah and the prophets and the New Testament, if you will. And that word is love. It's by our love that we are known to be His.
Father's love.
Yes. Not the love of the world.
Not the love of the world.
Yeah, there's two different kinds. And that's what we have, the problem that we have. The love of God will never fail. If you look at the world today, whether the secular world or the religious world, love is not there. Love is waxing cold, unfortunately. But that's how God made it happen, so that the few who are being called will be the instrument that He uses to judge the world. Well, don't you know that you will judge the world? So this new birth is marked by the indwelling of the Holy Spirit, who empowers believers to live according to God's will, to His law, to His Torah. That's why Yeshua says, if you love me, if you have the Spirit, remember this, the fruit of the Spirit is love. So if you have the Spirit within you and you love me, you will obey the commandments. So in whatever denomination they're telling you that the commandments have been done away, all that stuff, I will ask you to at least read these passages and see if that is what Jesus Christ is telling you. Because He's telling you the opposite. Love, which is the fruit of the Spirit, will cause you to walk the way Yeshua walked. And Yeshua obeyed the commandments. That's why, even though He was made sin, He knew no sin. For sin is lawlessness. Sin is the breaking of the commandments of God.